Response video to that Confederate socialist guy. He did provide a response video, 2 minutes and something, of just, fuck you, asshole kind of bullshit. Here's a bunch of links. Yeah, go check out the 900 links. There wasn't that many, but yeah, I did check them out, and it's the same old crap. It's very selective arguments to defend certain things. Look what happened in 1922 when the government did this. So fucking what? No one's defending government corruption, but whether government is the cause of problems or whether government is just not a perfect solution is the question, and whether there's something better than a democratic government to be able to decide these issues. My contention is that anarchy is nothing more than Klanism. So they always use these just jargon, statism. They have to always use some kind of bullshit like that. And all this anarchy crap would be is Klanism. Okay, you would pick a mob to belong to, and that mob would protect your rights as you define them, as you decide what your rights are, and you would basically, through violence, impose your rights on other people. It's that simple. So, the decision is whether you want a bunch of little dictatorships flying around, little power centers fighting with each other, or one colossus to deal with, one big monster or a bunch of smaller monsters. That's all. It's always going to be a monster managing human interaction, because we are selfish animals, and we are unwilling to make much sacrifice to any cause but our own. We'll sacrifice other people's rights way too easily, and that is a big problem. That's why we need to have principles and all that crap. And our founding fathers tried their best. They wrote a pretty good constitution. Wasn't quite explicit enough. Was a little bit sloppy, and over time it's been degraded, and that's just a fact. And it's mostly been degraded by religion and money. Those two elements have attempted to destroy social liberty. The drug war is the contrivance of the religious morality, essentially, and the whole gay rights crap and this other stuff. But this is where this whole thing gets silly, because it's like fake Sagan makes videos and he talks about this horrible force oppressing him and his dire need to have his gun and do this, and he'll sacrifice his gun, though, I guess, if we become civilized. But his examples of the tyranny are just so silly. He doesn't have the right to buy his drugs legally. Okay, yeah, so that's one tyranny. The other one is he doesn't have a right to be a homosexual. He's not a homosexual. You do have a right to be a homosexual. You just don't have a right to get married in a church at this moment. Okay, but some of this is just so stupid. It's silly. The argument is this grotesque tyranny. Oh, somebody got beat up at a protest. That's bad, but it's not. This isn't Middle Ages, and it's certainly not even the Middle East. I wouldn't want to be living there, where you got to pick Sunni or Shiite, and you got to do all this picking of what clan you're going to belong to, because there is no being in the middle crap. You're with us or against us is all over the place over there. So fuck you. This rhetoric is useless. The violence of the state. Well, the violence of the non-state is going to be, by every kind of calculation I can do in my head, it's going to be mega times worse. So anyway, let's get to some specifics, but there really aren't specifics. Like I said, there's no point in bringing up monopolies and then just cherry picking your examples and then using some stupid example like candle making. Well, come on. Let's talk about a business that takes a tremendous amount of infrastructure, like telecommunications at one time, or railroads, or some other thing that requires a competing company to spend a ton of fucking money to get into the business. A huge, gigantic entry cost. Well, guess what? Then your whole competitive model goes right down the toilet. Because in a business, in an environment that's not regulated, where a competitor has no guarantees, no way it's going to happen. The Hearst example we could use in publishing. It could happen all over the place. Somebody, once they get a lock, once they get the monopoly, they can afford to lose some money. they can just make so much money that they can buy protection for their business forever. Right? Look what Microsoft did in a regulated environment. It still did it. It got away with it. It kept any kind of competing software out of business, either by destroying it competitively by giving stuff away, or by just buying it up. So, I mean, let's not pretend the reality is, well, whatever. You're just suspending reality. This can't even happen. There's no blueprint for how mankind, 7 billion people, heads in this direction anyway. So it's a waste of time. Why waste your time with this? There's things about government that can be fixed, and to sit back and waste your time twiddling these thumbs, I don't understand this at all. This fantasy replacement. Then the whole the argument with the commons thing, the problem with the commons. Well, how in anarchy is it going to be any better? I mean, let's just take lobster fisheries or something. Unless you think somebody's going to be able to own hunks of the ocean and somehow defend or protect that ownership, put a fence around it or something. Oh yeah, I'm going to put a fence around my 10,000 acres of ocean. Not going to happen. And we see what people will do. I mean, especially if their kids are dying in the hospital or something, and they got to pay a bill, they're going to do whatever they have to do to make the money. Okay, and so they're going to cheat any system. And so your cartels are going to have to, if they agree, well, we can only fish this much, and we're going to have these regulations that we're going to impose on each other ourselves as this little mini state, this clan. These things you're not going to be able to. You're going to have to spend so much time defending your rules because you'll have no enforcement agencies. You'll have to create your own enforcement agencies, and the expense of that'll be preposterous. And and then what you're going to spend the money to fairly try people? I don't think so. You're gonna dispose of what you consider violators in a manner that's going to make our system look like utopia. So it's just crap. There's just every subject you can go on about this intellectual property. So you're gonna have no protections for somebody's intellectual property. So if I do 30 years of research and development and I find a cure for AIDS, you're just gonna steal it. Anybody can just steal my cure. I mean, that's not gonna work. You have to have a system that has these boundaries. Law enforcement, just simple crimes. I mean, if you have no identity, no responsibilities to a state, every clan then will have to have borders around its clan to prevent any infidels, any creepoids from somehow infiltrating their little world and sabotaging it. Either with direct violation crimes, rapes and pillages, or what about sabotage? You got no identity, somebody just sneaks in the night, poisons your factory or something, which 10 million tons of wheat or something with a little bit of anthrax or something, you're out of fucking business, okay? So you're going to have security around everything. Everybody's 90%, 80% of the freaking human race will just be security forces. We won't have any. That'll be the biggest, the largest employer. Will be being a guard with your stupid gun around somebody else's property, some rich guy's property. It just doesn't go anywhere. Like I say, you can't think of. There's no way. I can't construct a logical way you can make it happen. I can't take the A's and the B's and draw the diagram of, okay, here's a citizen and these are the services he wants and these are the guys who are going to provide those services and this is why they're going to be responsible and all that crap. It's not going to happen. If I own a section of the Mississippi River, for example, I'm not going to give a fuck about the guys downstream. Okay, I'm really not. So if I threw a little bit of an oil spill, well, so fucking what? It goes downstream. What do I care? It's just stupid to think that this idea that because you own a piece of property, you give a damn about it. No. If I can buy who could own property anyway? You'd have to occupy your property. Everybody have to occupy their property to protect it. They have to put fences around it. They have to do something, or somebody's just going to take it. And if I'm not there what if I owned right now? What if I had 100,000 acres of land in Arizona? And I'm over here, though. Am I going to waste a whole bunch of money guarding that land and preventing somebody from dumping a bunch of dioxin on it or something else at their convenience? No fucking way am I going to do any of that. So people are going to be dumping toxic waste all over the fucking place, because there's going to be lots of places to dump it. And it's not going to be their land. It's not the public's land. But it's not the game is that there's not going to be any accountability for it. So it's just all impractical, and then I can just start, I'll just throw the word nuclear out there. What are you going to do about nuclear technology? I mean, it's used in a lot of things, X-ray machines, lots of things, and that technology can obviously, if you know one part of nuclear science, you're going to know the other parts. So what happens when somebody decides, well, that mountain is in the way of the new road I want to put in, the new private road, so I think I'll blow it up with a little nuclear bomb. Who's going to stop somebody from doing that? I mean, it doesn't go anywhere. I mean, we are stuck with government. Government's a fact of our life. It's going to be a fact of the future. Whatever the future looks like, it's still going to have some kind of forces in it that are going to be called the government. So this is a stupid conversation, but I'll keep having it anyway.